for the final time in 2016. If it's Monday night, oh, yes, it is Ridiculously Raw. Hello, friends. It's Ridiculously Over Anthony Floyo, the man who tells it like it is, here with you for another edition. Well, not just any other edition, the final edition of Ridiculously Raw for 2016. As tonight, we just witnessed the final Monday Night Raw of 2016. And, well, so show, I'll be honest. But, we'll do what we always do. We'll get into, only the relevant stuff because there's going to be quite a few cutouts on this show tonight, like there always is. Joined as always by good LMF, Michael Fletcher. Good to see him back. He wasn't on with us on Friday night, but I'm glad he's here with us tonight. Also have the Phenom, Michael Bullock, fresh off another one of our infamous Monday Night Raw chats. We had a lot of fun with it as always. And, well, final time in 2016, guys, for the A show tonight. So with that said, let's dive on in. The final Monday Night Raw 2016. It was live tonight from the IWC capital of the world, Chicago, Illinois. The Allstate Arena, formerly the Rosemont Horizon. That's where they were for tonight. And it started off with an in-ring segment. And we had, well, for the first time in a while, she was there. Hey, girl. The commissioner of Monday Night Raw, the one and only Stephanie McMahon. She shows up tonight. And, well, she was in charge tonight. Not General Manager Mick Foley. She ran the show tonight. And, well, she was interrupted. Not only by the architect, Seth Rollins, but also the United States Heavyweight Champion, Roman Reigns. And, of course, it was Chicago. And what would a show in Chicago be without the infamous CM Punk, CM Punk, CM Punk chants? Yeah. And Stephanie died those down real quick and took a jab at CM Punk, obviously, for what happened when he fought Mickey Gall at that UFC event in September. So, yeah. So, but anywho, Rollins and Reigns showed up, and, well, Stephanie played into that IWC crowd in Chicago. And she's like, hey, how would you guys like to see a Shield reunion tonight? SmackDown Live is going to be there tomorrow night. So why not have the Lunatic Fringe, Dean Ambrose, and how about for one night only, we get a Shield reunion? Well, it's because both Reigns and Rollins wanted Braun Strowman, and then Stephanie said, no, that's not happening. Typical heel Stephanie McMahon on that. And then, well, she made two matches for the show tonight, a double main event, if you will. One of those men got Braun Strowman, got his wish, and got a match with Braun Strowman. It was the architect. Stephanie said, Seth Rollins, you're going to fight Braun Strowman tonight. And Roman Reigns, since you want to be a fighting champion and you want to defend your United States Heavyweight Championship, you're going to do that against an opponent of my choosing, which just happened to be the man he lost to at Roadblock End of the Line 8 nights ago in Pittsburgh, the reigning and defending WWE Universal Champion, Kevin Owens. So there's your double main event for this final Raw 2016. WWE was pouring it on thick with teases for a Shield reunion. It's the only thing that gets Reigns cheered and the fans want to see it. However, Reigns is challenging for the Universal Championship at the Royal Rumble, and Rollins is presumably facing Triple H at WrestleMania, so I'm not sure when we'll see it. But all I know is that was a very good opening segment. That's all I can say on that. I could go as far as to say that was the segment of the night if you really want me to be honest with you. And because, it was because of Stephanie. It was because of Stephanie. It was also because of the crowd in Chicago. They wanted to see that Shield reunion with Reigns and Rollins and the whole 9 yards. And I agree. It's the only thing that does get Roman cheered. I mean, if you want those in the IWC to actually cheer for Roman, well, a main event, a Shield reunion would be just the way to do it. So, yeah, especially with Rollins. Because Rollins is an IWC darling, as we all know. And definitely liked how that segment came out. always nice to see Stephanie. I mean, it's not often we get her, but we got her tonight, and she looked amazing as usual. And well, what else is there for me to say except this was a very enjoyable segment on my part. I mean, teasing that Shield reunion, the crowd going nuts, and Stephanie taking that shot at CM Punk. She said, "You're like, yeah, I was ready." And if you guys could keep that up for about 2 minutes and 15 seconds, you would last 1 second longer than Punk did. And wow, that was unbelievable. And I mean, what else? And then Seth Rollins taking shots at Triple H with Stephanie there. I mean, well, I know it's what WWE TV is these days, but the back and forth exchanges with Seth and Steph while setting the stage and forwarding storylines, it does feel contrived and scripted. Nobody talks like that, just taking turns with extended monologues with one wordy, unnatural zinger and comeback after another. Of all weeks to decide to put a mic in Roman's hands on live TV, they choose tonight in Chicago. I'll judge at the end of the show, but Seth versus Braun feels like a pretty big match to give away on less than 3 hours notice. So really all I can say on that. So, but despite all that, I still thought it was the segment of the night because there were no other segments that, were really there. So that's all I can say on that. So good way to start the show. So, all right. Good old MF, Michael Fletcher, come on in. Let's get your thoughts on this opening segment of the final Raw of 2016 in the IWC capital of the world.
And one of my favorite cities of all, because my little ties with the Chicago Bulls, Chicago, Rosemont, SRO signs were definitely up for this show tonight, Florio, and you know where we go with that one. I don't know how long the SROs were up, but they were definitely up tonight, and boy, did it deliver on everything that, for the most part, it delivered. This segment was really good. This was a great way to start Monday Night Raw. It was definitely good to see Stephanie back, and you know what? I gotta admit, as much as a heel authority figure she is, I like her as a heel authority figure. I actually don't mind her. It's always good. It's always good to change it up a little bit at a time. It's gonna be like with SmackDown. I probably will guess Shane O'Mac will be in the house, hopefully tomorrow, because I know Chicago loves Shane. And they definitely love Daniel, so I think it would be pretty cool to have them both there tomorrow night. I know they've been alternating lately, as you've been knowing on the show, where 1 week Shane is there, another week Daniel's been there, but Daniel's been there a little more than Shane has lately, so we'll wait and see what happens there. But no, it's good to get the change up, and plus everybody knows Mick Foley. So he's like Papa Noel, as they say. He's like Father Christmas over there. So he definitely wanted it to take some time with his family. No doubt about it. I don't think there's going to be much of a problem with that. And to have Stephanie there doing the show tonight, I think was great. And I gotta admit, I thought she handled it pretty well, at least with this segment. She kind of She did get me hook, line, and sinker on the Shield reunion. Them bringing the Shield in the whole 9 yards. So I kind of was a little bit on the. I should have known that was gonna happen, but I kind of fell for the trap because I'm thinking, oh my God, and she's right, because if you know, tomorrow night SmackDown Live is gonna be in Madison. Well, it's going to be in Chicago, but here's the reason why they weren't there tonight. And she's like, oh, well, SmackDown Live's actually, Dean Ambrose is not that far because the show's going to be in Chicago. One thing that needs to be addressed: SmackDown Live was not in Chicago, sweetheart. They're in New York tonight. As a matter of fact, they're doing a house show in the world's most famous arena. They're in Madison Square Garden tonight, folks. So for all you guys out there, if you got tickets to that show, you guys are so darn lucky. But here's the thing. This week is going to be one of the wildest weeks for WWE, because not only do you got dual shows, because you're going to have dual shows going on this week, but they're going to some of the biggest IWC cities in the nation. They're going to Atlanta. They're going to Miami. They're going to Boston. There's a show coming up in Boston this weekend. And then there's going to be 2 shows. There's going to be 1 show at the Staples Center in Los Angeles. And this is a house show we're talking. We're not talking a Monday Night Raw or a Tuesday Night SmackDown Live. Oh, no. This is actual live WWE events being held in some of the biggest cities across the nation, because we're getting close to 2017. So this is kind of their Christmas holiday wrap-up that they're trying to do. So they're going to have them do it. I think they end their little brief tour this weekend, like Friday night, and then Saturday and Sunday, no shows because that's New Year's. And then we kick it right into gear on Monday night. So you thought the wrestling form and the whole Strictly Sports family is going to be busy this week? Oh, no. WWE is going to be hitting the ground running, and they're going to go faster, harder, and amazing this week more than ever before. I'm going to try to get that schedule, and I'll hit you guys up on the group chat about the lineup. But I know for a fact they're going to be in some mega cities this week. So if Dean Ambrose was even promoted to be in New York, in Chicago, beats me. He would have been about maybe 3 or 4 hours away. You know, unless they give him a red eye, there's going to be no way on earth he was going to make it. So, yeah, nice little tease, Stephanie. But I thought the segment was amazing. Nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, I'll give it to you.
Yes, hello, friends. Mike Bullock here for another edition of Return to Raw. I mean, hopefully everybody had a very nice Christmas yesterday. Hopefully for you, Florio. Well, Florio, I already know you had a nice Christmas since we talked about it, and Fletch, I'm pretty sure you had a nice Christmas. And well, let's just say the Dolphins got you an early Christmas present, a trip to the postseason for the first time since 2008. So, and I know you gotta be beaming with joy for that one. So, but story for another day. So, yeah, as far as this segment goes, I do agree this is the segment of the night. I loved how Stephanie was teasing a Shield reunion. I mean, and I pretty much knew that this was all just a tease, and the thing is, and how she poked at CM Punk for, of course, losing to Mickey Gall and in that UFC fight, and basically Rollins and Reigns both said they wanted a piece of Braun Strowman after what happened last week. But Stephanie McMahon basically says, you know what, Seth Rollins, you're going to be facing Braun Strowman tonight, while Roman Reigns, you'll be defending the U.S. title against an opponent of my choosing. Who would that person be? Well, later on we would find out it would be Kevin Owens being the one. So how would everything turn out? You'll have to wait and find out during this review. So, segment of the night, Florio. Let's move on to our first matchup of the evening.
And what a way to start off the final Raw of 2016, then with a return match for the Raw Tag Team Championships. Champions Sheamus and Cesaro defending against the challengers and former champions who happen to be the now longest running tag team champions of all time, the New Day. We got the return match, New Day invoking their rematch clause. I'll get to that note in a minute, MF. Winners of the match in 10 minutes and 15 seconds, and still your Raw Tag Team Champions. It's Sheamus and Cesaro. By the way, Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston represented New Day. Big E sat out for this one. So it was Sheamus with a bro kick after a blind tag on Xavier Woods for the 1-2-3. So MF, we're going to start it off with you here. And I see SmackDown is in Chicago and then a Raw house show in St. Louis tomorrow. Okay. So I know he's going to keep an eye on that for the most part. So, all right, MF, your thought on that. Your thoughts on this Roadblock return match for the tag titles. What a match.
Yeah, no, this was a very good match. You know what? Let me just give you something really brief. I just want to get this out of the system because I talked about that thing previously. I'm just gonna hit you up with the schematics and then I'll go on to the main show. Okay, so just briefly, like I said, tomorrow night SmackDown Live in SmackDown live from Chicago. The Raw House show is going to be in St. Louis at the Scott Trade Center. Then Wednesday night show from Brooklyn, New York at the Barclays, and SmackDown Live that same night is going to be at the Bridgestone Arena in Nashville. Then Thursday, Monday Night Raw is going to be the Raw House show from the TD Garden, Boston, Massachusetts on Thursday. And then the same night, they're also going to be in Phillips Arena in Atlanta, the ATL, the Dirty as we like to call it. Then SmackDown and then Raw House show on the 30th. That's going to be from the American Airlines Arena in Miami. And folks, get ready. If you are in LA, SmackDown Live is coming. That's right. Friday night, December 30th, 7:30 is going to be the start time. So 7:30 West Coast time. And yes, it is going to be the big, well, actually, corrected. I actually stand corrected. Monday Night Raw crew is going to be in LA. So that means the fans in South Beach, get ready because you guys are going to have the SmackDown Live in your house. And let me see who's going to be in Boston. Is it going to be who's at Boston? Is it going to be Raw, SmackDown? Who's it going to? All right, it is Raw. So Raw's getting the fans in Boston. All right. So, I mean, what is there to say? So, as far as the tag team titles go, this was a good fight. Oh man, what a match this was. I was really impressed with it, really thrilled. But I'm happy that they did not I'm happy with the way that the fight ended. I wanted Cesaro and Sheamus to win the match. You know what? I'm going to tell you. Anthony, I know I said that Anthony and myself would be Cesaro and Sheamus, but I kind of feel like, I don't know, because Bullock and the Cesaro section thing going, I might have to draw back on that. And I don't know, because I kind of have a little bit of a feel for Sheamus. I like that attitude, his ruthlessness, but I'm also big fans too of Saw tonight. So I don't know. I think this was a good show. I think this was a solid match. I mean, very good match to say the very least. I'm gonna give this about maybe 2.5, 3 stars. So Michael Bullock, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I'll give it about a 3 to 3.25 stars is my rating for the match here. I mean, certainly a nice way to start out the matches portion of Monday Night Raw. And yeah, I mean, I'm glad that they kept the titles on Cesaro and Sheamus. And yeah, I mean, yeah, this was a good match. And yeah, so now what's up next for this for Sheamus and Cesaro? Who will be the next team to step to the plate and challenge them for the tag team titles? And I'll tell you this, I mean, I thought they worked like a cohesive unit, even though, of course, at the end Sheamus grabbed both belts, but I continue to be impressed with them. So 3 to 3.25 stars. Florio, it's yours.
I agree with Bullock's rating, 3 to 3.25 stars. It's the second best fight of the night for me. a very good tag title match with a lively crowd that was game for the near falls. There's still some life left in this feud, which is good considering how damaged the other tag teams on Raw seem to be at the moment. And other than that, the only thing I can say is very good match. And these two teams have developed a really good chemistry. I mean, we saw the great matches that they've had on Raw in recent weeks with the other teams. And, of course, the Roadblock fight was amazing. And I still think the Roadblock match was a smidgen better, but this one was just as good. And, yeah, definitely that element of Shakespearean drama in the mix. So that's all I can say there. So, yeah, very good way to start off the wrestling action of the show tonight. So 3 to 3.25 stars. I 100% agree with Bullock's rating. That's the rating that we talked about during our chat tonight. So, and for me, second best fight of the night. There was one match I thought was just a smidgen better, but we'll get into that in just a moment, or I should say later on. So, all right, now. What happens is, they had a video package for Brock Lesnar, later by Paul Heyman, and we'll get into that later. But we don't usually talk about backstage segments, but this is a backstage segment that Michael Bullock and I felt that needed to be addressed. We had a backstage segment, with the Golden Truth, and you're saying, why are you talking about a Golden Truth segment? I thought they usually cut out fodder, yes, but Bayley showed up. Bayley, our girl, our favorite. She gave Goldust a Bayley bear. And that Bayley bear was dressed like Goldust's father, the late, great American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. Awesome moment. But it would then be ruined, of course, by the club, of course, the Machine Gun, Carl Anderson, and Luke Gallows, as Carl Anderson literally ripped the head off that Bayley bear. And yeah, so what else is there to say? So and the tweet on the at WWE Universe Twitter handle says best gift ever from at It's Bayley WWE to at Goldust #Raw. So yeah, that was a great moment. And of course, if we were doing the commentary, Bullock would have lost his mind. He would have gone on one of those Byron Saxton tirades, but that's all there is to say on that. So with that being said, let's move on now. For the first time in a while, we actually had a Nia Jax squash match.
Hold on, Florio, because I need. Hold on. Wait, I because I know this was a little apropos and everything else. I gotta say this. It not only got through social media, but Cody Rhodes said something and ripped WWE for it. I needed to bring this up because I think it needs to be addressed. I got the quote here. I'm on his official Twitter handle. It goes, not gonna say anything mean or blow a whistle. All I can say is that whoever produced that, I hope they never know what this feels like. And look, don't get me wrong, WWE has done a lot of cool things, and I thought that going into it, it was absolutely awesome. I was even applauding them. I was gonna say that was a cool moment. I think it was everything else. I know there's some things that you want to get some monster heat on a person, but I think what they did was the wrong thing to do. Don't get me wrong. I know you're trying to get monster heat on Anderson and Gallows to make them look is more heel-like than anything else. But remember, sensitive nature, sensitive stuff. That was a lighthearted, cool moment, because even though it is acting and a lot of the times there is some scripted stuff, even though, like we always say, wrestling is indeed actually real. The athleticism, what they put themselves in the body, what they do inside the ring, that is real, folks. There is no doubt about it. There's no arguments. But the storylines that they do behind the scenes, like these backstage stuff, that's really more the Hollywood script and the whole 9 yards. And now I'm going to unveil the velvet rope here. But what I felt that I actually felt actual raw emotion in that segment. And that's really where, and
And you saw the emotional Goldust when it happened.
Yeah, we saw the emotion of Goldust, and we also heard, but remember what Bailey also said. He was the one that got me into this business. He was the one that paved the way for me. And that is a nod, not only to him, but to NXT. That's the other cool thing about it, because that's her nod to the predecessors, to the people that she loves, because yes, it was NXT that gave her the opportunity. It was Dusty Rhodes that worked day in and day out with all these young guys. And that's what it is, to get them where they are today in WWE. So for her to do that was a real cool moment. But like I said, we've had some jacked up moments in professional wrestling. Remember, I can't even look. I've been a big fan of Randy Orton, but remember that promo that he did with Rey Mysterio about Eddie Guerrero, saying that he's not up in heaven, he's down in.
He's down there.
He's down there. And I was furious with WWE. I went lit. I don't even remember. I think even though we never had a wrestling form show back then, if we did, oh my God, I would have gone on the
You would have put your lid in a big way.
Oh my God, I would have gone on it. I'm going to tell you, it would have been so bad. It probably would have been, it would have exceeded Florio's Boston Marathon rant. It would have been that bad. I would have blown the lid off that one. So, I mean, I just believe in my mind, when you have a lighthearted moment and a cool moment like that, you let it be. You just let the heartwarming stuff happen. Maybe do that a little bit later in the night, or maybe reference it. You know, don't rip the head off the bear or anything else. Something that was a sentimental thing, and something that had so much lightheartedness, and to wreck that moment, I'm sorry, I cannot defend that. WWE called out on this on so many fronts, on so many levels. I think I understand why you did it. I know what the motivation was. It was poorly executed. And that's the thing that really upsets me about that segment, is that I know why they were going for it. I know what they were looking for, but the way that they got there, I wish they would have gone a different route, a different path, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that got me upset too, Fletch, when I saw it. I mean, I wanted to go off in a big way, but I think you basically took care of it for me, so no need for me to go further.
Fair enough. So with that being said, let's just move on, guys. We're going to move on now to, well, like I said, our first cutout of the evening. It was a Nia Jax squash match for the first time in a while. She went up against a beautiful young lady by the name of Scarlett Bordeaux. Oh, yeah, she's beautiful. No doubt about it. And she wore a Sasha Banks tank top on. She had like a Sasha Banks top on. Well, Nia Jax, she took a major offense to that. Nia Jax squashes Scarlett Bordeaux in 1 minute and 6 seconds. No rating to a dud. The only thing I can say is it was exactly what it needed to be. That's all there is to say on that. I mean, no rating to a dud. It's obviously that it's obvious to me that there will be that one day Nia Jax will get her day in court with Sasha Banks. No question about that. So that's all I can say there. So exactly what it needed to be. So All right. Moving on now to another in-ring segment. Well, this is a 2-for-1 deal. We had Bayley. Hey, girl. Bayley and, of course, her wacky waving, arm flailing, inflatable tube men. Yes. You know how much Bullock and I love those. I don't know about MF, but we love those wacky waving, inflatable tube men, boys. No doubt about it.
Pointless, unnecessary, and straight up stupid. I'm like Corey Graves on that one.
Of course. Because you are the Corey Graves of our panel, no doubt. But yes, Bayley made her way out, and she talked about how she beat Charlotte last week, and she says that I should be that I'm the number one contender. Charlotte comes out and says, "Oh no, not so fast. I got my shoulder up before the count of 3. You never beat me." And Stephanie McMahon and myself, along with my lawyers, we had to talk about it, and we agreed that that there was a settlement made, and Bayley's so-called win from last week is now officially null and void from the record books. And then,
so it's like that match never even happened.
Right. And Charlotte says, "You know what? I'm feeling generous. I'm going to give you a chance to fight me here tonight. Only thing is, we're not going to have a traditional WWE referee for this match. We had a special guest referee. And who was that special guest referee? I know deep down, I told Bullock this. I said it, and here it is. I said when this individual showed up in the referee gear, I swear I could hear MF. I could hear Michael Fletcher gurring like a crazy man. Because who was that special guest referee that Charlotte was referring to? It happened to be MF's second favorite girl, Dana Brooke. MF, how about Dana Brooke in that referee attire, huh?
Hello, Brooke. Oof. She looked mighty fine. Oh, yes. She looked mighty fine. I know I probably get ripped by my boy like Bill McConnell. He's probably be like, "Oh, please, roll the eyes and everything else." I'm having my moment on this one, man. She was oh so beautiful tonight.
That's your number 2. And of course, that's why she's MF's number 2 girl, of course, only behind the Irish last kicker, Becky Lynch. And I know he was gurring at that little photo I sent of her earlier to him, little Christmas gift from me. So, anywho, let's get into it here. When all was said and done, Charlotte won the match in 4 minutes because of what happened here. Bayley and Dana Brooke were going at it, and then Charlotte cradled her up, put her feet on the ropes, and Dana Brooke with a fast 1, 2, 3 count, a quick count. Charlotte wins in 4 minutes. I don't know if you got. Do you guys want to get into this, or do you want, or are we going to consider this a cutout?
Cutout.
Okay, so yeah, obviously Bullock has no comment, and MF already had his little moment about Dana Brooke and the referee attire, but I'll sum it all up. If I had to give a rating for that, I could only give it 1.5. It was not much of a match. It was more about the shenanigans with Dana. I didn't like them having another match here if they are facing at the Rumble. I get exactly what they were doing here, screwing over the babyface, but Bayley had some momentum last week, and it feels as if it got cut off for some cheap heel heat. Charlotte already had heat and didn't need this. Also, shouldn't Bayley have been disqualified after connecting with that Bayley to belly on Dana Brooke? I think that's what should have happened. So that's all I can say on that. So, all right, MF. Now that we'll get. Hopefully, we can get MF's mind off Dana Brooke in that referee attire, because we move on now to the first of 2 cruiserweight matches. We had the newly heel turned Adrian Neville going up against TJ Perkins. Winner of the match in 5 minutes and 55 seconds, Adrian Neville pulling the tights and getting the win. Okay. Of course, Michael Bullock will not be joining us because he's still on his cruiserweight boycott. But MF and I will take it from here. Third best fight of the night for me. I'm going to give it a solid 2.5 stars. It was fun, and they did well with the time given, and the right guy won. Earth to Neville is great. Perkins was largely protected, got in a lot, and Neville came off great, pinning the former champion again. And then he would issue a challenge to the cruiserweight champion, Rick Swann. So, I mean, and going back to that stuff with Charlotte and Bayley, there's one other thought I wanted to get off. Bayley isn't clicking the way she should be. I mean, could you have imagined how hot a Chicago crowd would have been for her a year ago? Absolutely. Granted, not everyone in the building would have been watching NXT, but those who did would have been loud enough to give her a great reaction. The fans like her, but she's not quite the sensation that she was in NXT. And the match was forgettable and all that good stuff. So, now as far as the Neville and TJP fight goes, yeah, like I said, 2.5 stars and third best fight of the night. And, you know, I had some high hopes going into the fight, and it delivered for the most part. I honestly wanted to see a little more, because if you give these two guys some more time, it's a fun match waiting to happen. It's 3.5 to 4 waiting to happen, if not higher. But for the time given, 2.5 stars. So, MF, I know you definitely want to get into this.
Oh yeah,
TJP, I know one of your personal favorites, as is mine, and of course, you've always been a fan of Adrian Neville from his days in NXT. So,
yep.
Neville and TJP, I mean, did they deliver in your eyes? I thought they did in my eyes.
Dream match that you ever think about, but I gotta say, man, I am loving the new Neville look. I love that heel-like attitude. I love the no-nonsense. I'm gonna tell you right now, Florio, I think you're looking at the next cruiserweight champion of the world. I think Adrian Neville is going to be the next cruiserweight champion. I mean, the way that they're grooming him, the way that he's going to be, I'm going to tell you right now, it almost reminds me of Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson in the UFC right now, in the flyweight division. There is no legitimate competition right now, and he is running the right now. He has taken Rich Swann and TJ Perkins, two of probably the best in that division, and has been destroying them. Definitely destroying them. I think this guy is going to become that dominant champion that I don't know how this is going to look in the future, but I'm telling you, you need one guy to really step up and take that division by the horns and steer it in a direction. I think WWE is gonna strap they're gonna strap Adrian Neville in 2017. It is a given. But how long is he going to keep that belt for is going to be another question. And plus, with the way that this has been looking, because remember, practically the two longest reigns in the history of either the light heavyweight division or in the light heavyweight division or in the cruiserweight division was when they had the light heavyweight championship. It was Taka Michinoku. He was the longest running champion, and he revolutionized that division. Then on top of that, then you had, when it was the cruiserweight belt, I mean, you had two guys that did it. You had Gregory Helms or the Hurricane, whatever. You had him and Chavo Guerrero. They were the flag bearers of that division. Now I feel that it looked like they wanted it to be TJ Perkins at first to be the flag bearer. Then they went with Brian Kendrick. And now I'm thinking that I think Adrian Neville is going to be that guy. Once he gets the belt, I think he's going to have a long reign as champion. I'm even going to make a bold prediction here. I think if Adrian Neville gets the belt, I think he's going to walk out of the year as champion. Whenever he's the champion, now that could be Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, but whenever, he is going to end the year the cruiserweight champion of the world. That's my bold prediction for 2017. So with that said, this was a great fight. 2.5 to 3 stars is my rating. Florio, it's yours.
Well, I did some research here. When it comes to the longest runs as WWF light heavyweight champion, and Taka Michinoku actually was the third longest. He held it for 315 days. You remember he won it at D-Generation X in your house, defeating Brian Christopher in that tournament final, and then he would lose it to Christian at Judgment Day the following year. Second longest run was Dean Malenko, held it 322 days. He won it on a SmackDown, knocking off Scotty 2 Hotty in Charlotte, North Carolina. And the longest reign, I can't believe I'm saying this, it was actually Dwayne Gill / Gilbert, held it for 448 days. November the 17th of 98, he won it on a Monday Night Raw taping, defeating Christian. And, I guess they just never had him defended again. And then S.A. Rios, when they brought it back, February of 2000, he won it. So unreal. So that's the history of the WWF light heavyweight champion. When it comes to that, Michinoku held it 315 days. A very good run indeed. And of course, with the cruiserweight belt, I mean, like MF said, MF knows his history, and yes, indeed. WCW cruiserweight champions. Longest run in the history of that belt. Oh yeah, that's right. A WWE cruiserweight title. That's right. That's what you were talking about earlier. Well, actually, it carries over in my list here. And Helms has the record, 385 days. Won it at the 2006 Royal Rumble in a Cruiserweight Open, and would lose it at No Way Out 2007. It was Chavo Guerrero. Chavo's run. Were you talking about Chavo Guerrero in WWE, MF, or were you talking about him in WCW as far as the cruiserweight title goes?
I was talking about the WWE reign.
WWE reign for Chavo?
Yeah.
Well, when it comes to Chavo Guerrero's cruiserweight championships, his final reign, he won it 6 times. His longest reign was his 6th and final reign. He held it for 154 days. When he beat Hurricane Helms. Well, No Way Out of 07. And who did he lose it to? He lost it, of course, to Hornswoggle. Don't even get me started on that god awfulness. So, but yeah, he held it 6 times. So there's a lot of history and lineage when it comes to the light heavyweight and cruiserweight championships. So, all right, what happens next? What happened here was we had Enzo and Cass. Enzo and Cass show up. Enzo Amore was in a wheelchair after he got the snot beat out of him by Rusev and Jinder Mahal during that after that sensitivity training nonsense. And then he cuts his usual promo. He does the usual shtick, and he made Tinder and chicken jokes. And of course, Michael Bullock and I have taken a major liking to a certain saying of that: boneless chicken tenders. Yeah, we love our boneless chicken tenders, Bullock and I do, especially during our group outings. And yes, indeed. And that would bring out, and then Cass was all serious. He was all business. He didn't even do the SAWFT. He called out Rusev, and then, Rusev was accompanied by Jinder Mahal, and it was supposedly going to lead into a match with Big Cass and Rusev. It never got off the ground, but let me say it, though. The feud must continue. And if I'm being honest, right now it's not doing anything for me. It really seems as if Enzo and Cass have been directionless or just in nothing feuds since their call-up. So that's really all I can say on that. And then we were supposed to have another match. Oh yeah, look at this tag team matchup. The Shining Stars against Bo Dallas and Darren Young. Yeah, that's going to be a 5-star classic. That's going to make the Revival and DIY's 2 out of 3 falls match from Toronto look like an absolute dud. Said no one. Yeah, so that's all I can say on that. Said no one. And of course, that never got off the ground because Braun Strowman showed up and raised hell again. Braun Strowman took all those guys out, including Bob Backlund. Boy, you feel bad for Bob Backlund. 33 years ago tonight, to the day, 33 years ago, he lost the WWE Championship to the Iron Sheik in Madison Square Garden, controversially because of Arnold Skaaland throwing the towel in. We'll never forget that moment. Iron Sheik even tweeted about it on his Twitter, for goodness sakes. But anyways, no rating to a dud. And the crowd chanted, "Thank you, Strowman." You heard it. Strowman, Strowman. They were chanting him like he was Goldberg, for goodness sakes. And I agree. So that's an absolute cutout there. Then we had another match, Braun Strowman against Seth Rollins. And Strowman actually wins the match in 3 minutes and 35 seconds via disqualification because of outside interference from Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn showed up, and he went to town on him, and then chased him out. And then Chris Jericho showed up and hit two code breakers on Seth Rollins. I'm guessing you guys don't want to get into this. I'm sure you guys are going to consider this a cutout.
Well, I'll jump in on this with one factor, and that's I love the fact of how they utilize Sami Zayn here. You know, I thought they did that brilliantly. I'm going to give WWE a lot of credit with this. This was a brilliant move. You got the fans red hot. You gave them what they wanted. They love Sami. And Sami came out at the right moment. He came in, picked his moments, went after Strowman, made him go blip, and now they are setting it up for what is going to be one heck of a fight next week. You want a good fight to start off 2017. Strowman and Zayn, last man standing. Oh my goodness. That's gonna be a fight, man. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm a little worried for Sami going into it. I'm gonna openly admit that I'm a little worried for Sami Zayn because of the fact you never know how a last man standing fight is gonna go, because it is so uncertain, and the level of danger in this fight, because Braun Strowman can destroy you and he could hurt Sami really bad, but the factor is you gotta beat somebody to the point that the referee cannot that you're unable to get up to the count of 10 by the referee. Anything goes, no DQ, and they're going to be in Tampa. Imagine what could happen in that fight. This can go inside the ring. This could go outside the ring. This could go anywhere in the building, for heaven's sake. Just think about that. That could be a show stealer, and maybe, just maybe, I know, but fight of the night, maybe a TV fight of the year candidate. I'm not calling overall fight of the year because I don't think that's going to happen. But this would be a great way to at least have the Raw fight of the year. It's humanly possible. Because if anybody who thought that the first fight that they had, that 10-minute bout, when he last did it, and they were saying, oh, you know, it was good, but it should have been better, you guys were not watching the fight. Honest to God. You were not watching that match.
I agree. Yeah.
All right.
I gave that a positive review. Bullock was a little more on the negative side of it, but
which is fair. He had every right to be, because there was a few moments where absolutely you have to criticize and say yeah. So no problems. I guess we can move on.
Definitely. As far as what I thought about the fight goes, if I had to give it a rating, I'm actually going to give it 2 stars for the effort. It was exactly what it needed to be. Strowman is getting a push and can't lose. Rollins is going to be facing Triple H soon and can't lose. Strowman looked like a beast. They added heat to the Zayn match next week, and Rollins was more than competitive. And I said to Bullock during our Raw chat, if anybody could get a more than passable match out of Braun Strowman, Seth Rollins was the guy that could do it because of his body of work. And sure enough, he did just that. And that's really all there is to say on that. So very good. And the only other thing I can say about what Strowman did prior to the Rollins match is Vince McMahon booking Strowman to interrupt the worst matches on Raw, knowing that he will be cheered so that he has an excuse when the WrestleMania crowd inevitably cheers for Strowman and boos the hell out of Roman Reigns. Foreshadowing, perhaps? Maybe. So, and it was a good segment with the right finish. Strowman shouldn't lose right now, and Rollins should also be protected. So it was a logical finish. And that's it. So, then we had the tag team match of the Golden Truth going up against Machine Gun Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. Gallows and Anderson win the match in 3 minutes and 50 seconds. And for the second time tonight, we saw it. This time it was Carl Anderson on Goldust with a roll-up, pulling the tights, getting the win. I'm guessing you guys are not going to want to get into that, so I'll save it here. Solid 2 stars. Solid stuff. Right team won, and Goldust actually showed great fire. I'll give him that. So, and then we had another cruiserweight match. Cruiserweight champion Rich Swann in action against Arya Daivari, the younger brother of Sean Daivari, as you all know. Rich Swann won the match in 1.5 minutes. Short and decisive win for the champion, and then he made the announcement. He would go on to respond to Adrian Neville's challenge from earlier in the night, and of course, Rich Swann accepted. So it's on tomorrow night, 2:05 live, guys. Cruiserweight champion Rich Swann will go one-on-one with Adrian Neville tomorrow night, and also on that show tomorrow night, Jack Gallagher, the Extraordinary Gentleman, is going to go up against Arya Daivari in a gentleman's duel. Okay. That ought to be interesting. Will probably be the most interesting match in WWE since that infamous Duchess of Queensberry rules match with Regal and Jericho at the Backlash pay-per-view in 2001. In that very same arena, by the way, Chicago. So yeah. That was a no rating to a dud. Short and decisive win for the champions, like I said, but Swann and Neville tomorrow night, that should be really something. And then it was the main event for the United States Heavyweight Championship. Roman Reigns defending against the Universal Champion Kevin Owens. Winner of the match in 16 minutes and 25 seconds, and still the United States Heavyweight Champion Roman Reigns, with some outside with a little help from Seth Rollins, distracting Kevin Owens long enough for Roman Reigns to hit him with a spear. Reigns retains the United States Heavyweight Championship. I have no idea who leads off because we've had so many cutouts and the whole 9 yards. I believe Bullock starts it off, I think. So, Bullock, if you're still with us, your thoughts on the main event?
Yeah, what was the time of the fall again?
16 minutes and 25 seconds.
Yeah, I thought this was a good main event. I'm gonna give it about 3.25 stars as my rating. I mean, I want to give it higher, but of course we did have a little bit of some shenanigans outside the ring, of course, with Chris Jericho and of course with Seth Rollins interfering as well. But all in all, the match was still good for what it was. But yeah, so excuse me. So yeah, Roman Reigns is still the U.S. champion. I guess this is a way of WWE wanting to excuse me. I mean, to have Jericho enjoy his interfering before he's hung in that cage at the Royal Rumble. So 3.25, teetering on 3.5. So, Florio, I give it to you.
Fight of the night for me. Despite that, despite the interference in the whole 9 yards, it was a good, lengthy main event with the rather predictable sequence leading to the finish. Logical, but still predictable. Solid main event, and it didn't really leave me anxious to see their rematch at the Royal Rumble. But fortunately, the shark cage gimmick with Jericho being afraid of heights, even though he gets credit for creating Money in the Bank, has already won me over. The babyfaces standing tall at the end is just par for the course if Strowman isn't involved. Owens and Jericho right now feel like upper mid-card heels, not main eventers, due to all of the comedy and the fact that they are not positioned as threats to the top babyfaces unless they have the numbers advantage. But overall, it was a very good match. I felt they played off the dynamic well and worked a better pace with a better layout as opposed to the roadblock match. I didn't like them having another match here if they are facing at the Rumble, but they did create some good near falls, and it never felt lethargic like the pay-per-view match did. This was definitely better than the roadblock match. Let's not kid ourselves. I also like how Reigns and Rollins are together out of necessity and aren't just instant besties. So I'm going to give it 3.25 to 3.5 stars, and I'm going to call this my fight of the night. So, MF, your thoughts on the main event?
3.5 stars, fight of the night, no doubt about it. I can't argue with that at all. This was a good match. I mean, I loved how everything came out. It was just a very good event. It was a good match, solid fight. Everybody was I felt good after this one. There's really nothing more to say. So, Anthony, I'll just give it to you.
All right. And now it's time to get into our overall review, and I'm going to start it off. I'm going to give it 6.25 out of 10. They have more weeks than usual to build to the pay-per-view, which slows things down, but that isn't always bad. I thought tonight's effort was really solid. The right people won. They did a lot of little things to advance feuds, a little bit of storyline progression, if you will. And they actually also did a lot of setup for tomorrow night's 205 Live. It was a show to solidify things, and in that aspect, I think it was mission accomplished. Overall, though, Raw does get a thumbs up. Not a huge thumbs up, but it gets a thumbs up. Yeah, it wasn't a hot episode, but this beat the hell out of the usual Vince McMahon holiday fun show that we tend to get at this time of the year. We didn't get the holiday nonsense last week, and I didn't think they'd run the risk of turning off the Chicago fans tonight. But there was no way of knowing for sure, given that they did not advertise anything going in. I'll always take the straightforward approach over sports entertainment holiday madness. So that's really all I can say about that. And 6.25 out of 10 is my overall rating for this show tonight. So, MF, your overall thoughts on this final Raw of 2016?
I'm right there with you. 6 out of 10. It was a good show. Very, very solid. Nothing amazing that would make me want to jump out of my seat. But it was good enough for the most part because it was a solid action type of event. It just felt good. It felt solid. It felt like it was meant to be. Let's say it like that. Other than that, I got nothing more to say. Mike Bullock, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I'll give it about 6.25 to 6.5 as well. I mean, there's really nothing more to say about it. I mean, you guys, Florio pretty much touched on everything. So, with that being said, Florio, let's get to your Tony's take, and I believe it's only about the 205 Live.
That is correct, Michael Bullock. And before I get into that, I just noticed on our group chat here, MF added a comment about Scarlett Bordeaux. Ring of Honor girl, MF, huh? Is that what you're telling me?
She was not only a Ring of Honor girl, she was also a TNA girl too. She was in TNA for a little bit as well. And this is not her first time or her first rodeo with WWE because she actually was at one time a Rosebud for our boy Adam Rose when he was in WWE. So when the Exotic Express came down to Chicago, she was actually one of the lovely Rosebuds.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So yeah, she's been in Ring of Honor for a number of years, but whenever they come to Chicago, they actually use her. So this is not her first rodeo with WWE. And yes, it was her debut fighting in her home city against Nia Jax, but she has been in Chicago before. She has performed for WWE in Chicago, but she is one that she has been she's actually a part was a part of one of the crew with Truth Martini. She was a member of the House of Truth, and let me tell you, she's actually have sing in the past, brother. She has a voice of an angel. I mean, she is that good, stunning to look at, beautiful inside and out, and truly and from what I know, because they have come down to Rhode Island before, I've actually heard, and this is just personal intel, probably one of the nicest people that you can actually get to know, Scarlett Bordeaux. So yeah, there you go.
All right. Good information there. All right. I just wanted you to get that off your chest because I wanted to make sure that didn't get left out because I noticed that in our chat box. So, all right. Before we move on to the Tony's Take, of course, next week on the first Monday Night Raw 2017, we got the Last Man Standing match, Braun Strowman against Sami Zayn, and also, guys, Goldberg is going to be on the show. We're gonna hear from Bill Goldberg. He's going to be on the show next week. Of course, Bill Goldberg will be one of the 30 participants in the upcoming Royal Rumble match at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio next month. So that should be some interesting stuff right there. So we're going to hear from Goldberg next week in Tampa. So that should be some interesting stuff. So, all right. Now we're going to move on to a very short Tony's Take this week. Good news and bad news. I do have some bad news. Unfortunately, for the next 2 weeks, this week and next week, I will not be doing an Impact Wrestling review because Impact Wrestling will be airing best of shows. Last week they aired the best of 2016. But it was what they called the greatest hits of 2016. All the memorable moments and fights of the year and the whole 9 yards. This week it'll be all about the best of the Hardys. I mean, all the brilliance from the Hardys. I mean, all that broken brilliance they did this year. Which will, of course, will include the Great War from Bound for Glory, which is my match of the year for 2016 right now. Although you can make an argument for Apocalypto, but my next Impact Wrestling review will not be until 2 weeks from tonight on our January 9th edition of Ridiculously Raw, which is going to be a huge show anyway, because not only are we going to be talking about Ridiculously Raw, 205 Live and Impact Wrestling, but we'll also be giving you folks updates because that's the night of the college football playoff national championship game from Tampa, Florida's Raymond James Stadium. So, yeah, we're gonna be cutting in with updates throughout. These guys are gonna cover it. I'm gonna be right there with them. So, yeah, I cannot wait for that night in 2 weeks. So we're just gonna do a quick review of 205 Live and then we'll wrap it up. Of course, 205 Live last Tuesday following SmackDown Live and let's start it off. First match of the night, it was Ariya Daivari squaring off against Lince Dorado. Ariya Daivari wins the match in 6 minutes via a pinfall. 2 stars. This was a solid but rather lifeless match. The most exciting part was Dorado almost dying. I mean, Dorado had a nasty bump in the fight, but he's okay, nothing to worry about. So by default, it was the worst fight of the night, 2 stars. Then we had Cedric Alexander squaring off against Drew Gulak. Cedric Alexander wins the fight in 5 minutes and 55 seconds. Second best fight here. I'm going to give it 2 3/4 to 3 stars. Pretty good match that was really picking up until they had to advance the horrible Alexander, Fox, and Dar angle. It really took away from the fight for me, but like I said, very good match though. And then the main event of the evening, the tag team match. Cruiserweight champion Rich Swann teaming up with TJ Perkins. They squared off against Adrian Neville and the Brian Kendrick. Adrian Neville and the Brian Kendrick win the match in 14.5 minutes. It was a red arrow by Adrian Neville on TJ Perkins. Fight of the night, 3.25 to 3.5 stars. Very good main event to fully reintroduce Neville and set him up as the next challenger for Swan. Overall thoughts on this show? I can only give it a 6 out of 10 for the effort. The effort was solid, but completely skippable. Arya Davari does nothing to impress me in any way, and is actually, I think he's even more boring than his brother ever was. The whole Alexander, Dar, and Fox angle does nothing for me. The sooner we move away from Arya Davari and Noam Dar and introduce Gran Metalik and Akira Tozawa, I think we'll be better off. I am all for building characters and angles when they are good. I did like the main event, though, and the solidification of Neville as the king and new top heel of the cruiserweights. If I had to recommend it, I would say skip the first fight. But the other two fights, I would say, second fight, well, it's up to you. But the main event, at least you got to see the main event, though. The main event was really good, though. I'll give it that. So it's a 6 out of 10. Of course, you know what's going to happen on the show tomorrow night. That gentleman's duel with Jack Gallagher and Arya Davari. And, of course, the big main event, Cruiserweight champion Rich Swann squaring off against Adrian Neville in that it's a non-title match. The title's not on the line. So I wouldn't be surprised if Adrian Neville would go over. So, all right, that's it for this. So that'll put the ball on this edition of Ridiculously Raw for tonight and for this week. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. Of course, the last 5 months, in 2016, our Raw, when it became Ridiculously Raw after the brand split. I mean, I appreciate all of the views throughout the year, and it's been a fun ride for these last 5 months, and let's see what 2017 has to offer. And we're off to a good start. We got Bill Goldberg coming in, and we also have that huge last man standing match with Braun Strowman and Sami Zayn. That should be some good stuff in Tampa next week. So there you go. So that's it for this edition of Ridiculously Raw. Thank you so very much for tuning in. We'll do our quick shout outs before we wrap it up, and open forum. Whoever wants to first take it to save me for last so I can set up the future content.
I'll start it off, of course.
All right.
Shout out to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to support our shows, whether it's this or the Cerebral Smack Talk or Strictly Sports NFL Friday. Of course, we thank you very much for tuning in tonight. And of course, shout out to the First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, Dee Woodson, and of course to her husband, Kevin Woodson, and the rest of the Woodson family, and to our other super fans, Matt Ward and Jason Hixenbaugh. And of course, to all of our friends from our high school days, Al Britterson, Jimmy Alden, Rob Parsons, Eric Carrier, Tom Souza. Also to Megan Silva, and of course, the First Lady of Strictly Sports, Kaiser Butler. Of course, to Derek Ferrera as well. And well, for me anyway, a special shout out to, of course, one of our favorite ring announcers, Lillian Garcia. Of course, Florio and I, we found out that, fortunately, her father passed away on Christmas Day. So definitely a big time shout out, and thoughts and prayers and condolences go out to her and the rest of the Garcia family. So we love you, Lillian. We're thinking of you during this tough time. So yeah, so that's gonna do it for me. So until maybe tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk, if not Thursday night for our big show for Strictly Sports NFL Friday. Well, it's actually gonna be NFL Thursday, to be quite honest. So yeah, so until then, this is the Phenom Mike Bullock saying thank you all so very much for tuning in. And of course, you know the routine. Thumbs up, talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends, and enjoy the rest of your night, everyone. So Fletcher, I give it to you.
Yeah, no doubt about it. First off, thank you to all the great fans out there. You guys are the best fans in the world. You guys already know that. To the guys in the junior high and high school day, much love to you guys. To my friends in the 2184 crew, much love to you. Super fans, you're awesome as always. And there is going to be a Cerebral Smack Talk tomorrow night. As always, it's going to be about SmackDown Live. And then we also got is also going to be about Lucha Underground. Unfortunately, Ring of Honor, they're also doing they did a best of Anthony, so there's not going to be much on Ring of Honor as well. However, there is going to be one thing that I'm going to bring to the table, and actually this is going to be something that I think even Derek Ferrera will not believe I'm going to do. There is some mega event coming up next week live from the Tokyo Dome in Tokyo, Japan. Wrestle Kingdom 11. And believe it or not, the reason why I'm doing that is because there's some Ring of Honor guys that's going to be on the show, but there's also guys that I've followed from Ring of Honor. That's from New Japan Pro Wrestling. So I'm going to cover it. And there is 3 mega matches. The Ring of Honor World Title for the 2nd consecutive year will be defended at the Dome. It's gonna be Kyle O'Reilly, the reigning champion, against the former champion Adam Cole, and then 2 mega fights in the Tokyo Dome. One for the IWGP Intercontinental title, and the main event itself could be historic for United States. For the United States, because I should say for Canada, it could be a historic night for them, because for the first time ever, a Canadian is fighting for the most richest prize in Japan. That's right. Kenny Omega from Canada is fighting for the IWGP Heavyweight title. How did he do it? How is he getting this opportunity? I will break it down for you guys tomorrow night on Cerebral Smack Talk, 10 p.m. Eastern. We're going to jump it off on BraceFan95, YouTube.com. Until then, you know the routine. Mike Fletcher, Huzz and Pounds. I'm out. Good night. Florio, take it home.
Wow, that's big news indeed, MF. I can't wait to hear all about that. Hearing your Mikey's mindset tomorrow night. But yes, of course, special shout out to all of our tremendous fans and viewers who have continued to make our shows as over as they are. We appreciate it as always. You are the best fans in the world. Of course, our 4th member, if you will, and the first lady of the Wrestling Forum, the Twisted Angel, Didi Woodson, along with the entire Woodson family, the first family of the show. Special shout out to Matt Ward. Matt Ward got to go to the show tonight. He was in Chicago for Monday Night Raw tonight. I'm sure he enjoyed it. Hopefully we'll get like some sort of review from him on that. Of course, the rest of our shout outs, Jason Hicksonbaugh, Daniel Luttrell from the UK. Of course, our other first ladies, Kaiser Butler, Megan Silva, and Lexi Calloway, and our other crew members, Tommy Souza, Eric Carrier, Jimmy Alden, Al Bradison, and Rob Parsons. And of course, last but not least, the man himself, the hardcore pipe bomb, Derek Ferrera. And I'll save the rest of my shout outs for Thursday. And you're saying Thursday? What's going on Thursday? Well, I'll get to that in a minute. Future content, of course, like MF said, tomorrow night, we are going to, well, before we get into that, Matt Ward got to go to Monday Night Raw, and he said I had the best time at Monday Night Raw, and it was actually a Christmas present from a lady friend of his, I guess. So yeah, very nice. So obviously Ward had a great time. I'm sure we'll get a review of some sorts from him within the next day or so. But anyways, getting back to future content, of course, tomorrow night we have, like MF said, the Cerebral Smack Talk, and as we will review the final SmackDown Live of 2016, which will also be at the Allstate Arena in Chicago. Huge night. Very huge night. 3 championship matches on this show tomorrow night. Fatal 4-way for the Tag Team Championship. Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt defending against the American Alphas, defending against the Usos, and the former champions, Heath Slater and Rhino. And then you've got the rematch for the Women's Championship. Alexa Bliss defending against former champion Becky Lynch. My Girl against MF's Girl. And then, of course, the main event of the evening, the triple threat match for the WWE Championship. AJ Styles defending against both Dolph Ziggler and Baron Corbin. should be one hell of a night on SmackDown Live tomorrow night, along with some other things. And MF will also have his Mikey's Mindset, like he said, Lucha Underground, and of course those big news out of ROH. And now, normally we do our football show on Friday night, as you all know, but back on December the 18th at 8:15 in the evening, Derek Ferreira, from the desk of Derek Ferreira, he made a major announcement. He said, we will have a Strictly Sports Football Friday show. He says, we will have a special NFL/college football special this upcoming Thursday night, December the 29th. This is going to be our most loaded broadcast ever, folks, because listen to this. On this show, we are going to preview the Friday New Year's Six game, the college football playoff semifinal matchups, week 17 of the NFL season, and the rest of the New Year's Six games. And in addition to that, we will also review the year in sports. We will recap the big year in sports, and then NFL power rankings. And he says it makes sense because the big focus the next night on Friday, the 30th, will be the big UFC return of the one and only Ronda Rousey. And he says, I'm sure the panel has plans for that night. Oh, yeah. You know we do. I mean, Michael Bullock even told me that his father's even actually considering getting the event. Or is he getting the event, Bullock? We talked about it earlier.
Yes, he is.
Oh, he is getting it. Okay.
And I'm going to watch it too.
Mm-hmm. There you go. And MF, I'm sure you're going to be making your usual trek to Dave & Buster's with one Alex Zapata, I'm sure, for this. Or are you? But nonetheless, though, so we're gonna do our big football show Thursday night. We're not gonna do the show on Friday night because of the return of Ronda Rousey and the whole 9 yards. So yeah, that's more than fine with us. I'm thinking about starting that show. I think maybe we should start that show right around 10 or so. I mean, because that's gonna be a loaded show. And
What are you talking about?
Thursday. This Thursday, we're actually going to be doing the football show on Thursday. If you didn't read the Strictly Sports Facebook page, courtesy of Derek.
No, I missed it. What happened?
We're not doing the football show on Friday night because that's of course the UFC. You know that's UFC. You know that's going to be the big UFC event Friday night with Ronda Rousey coming back.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm going. I'm actually taking a. Yeah, I'm going to Dave & Buster's to see on Friday night. Yeah.
With Alex, I'm sure, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and Bullock and his dad are actually getting the event at his house. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, because my father's like really impressed with Ronda Rousey, and he's been following it, and he's actually going to watch it.
All right.
So we're gonna do the football. So we're doing the football show on Thursday and not Friday. So we're free Friday night. So I'm sure that works well for you guys. And I'm thinking about starting the show on Thursday night at 10 o'clock since we're gonna have so much to get into. Is that okay with you guys?
That's fine with me because I'm off at that point. Because after I work on Monday, after I get out on Wednesday, I'm done for the rest of the week. I don't work again till Saturday, so no, yeah, definitely.
Okay, so make a note of that. Thursday night, 10 o'clock. We're gonna go into that. So let's make that note right now. So so Thursday at 10, our huge Strictly Sports show. We're gonna talk about everything, all week 17 games. We'll also get into the New Year's Six. The best of 2016, our year in review in the sports world, NFL power rankings, the whole 9 yards. We're gonna do it all. We will do it all this Thursday night, December 29th, 10 p.m. Eastern, here on the Tone 25. So, all right. So that will put the ball on this edition of Ridiculously Raw. Thank you all so very much for tuning in. Ridiculously over Anthony Floyo here. For good old MF Michael Fletcher, for the phenom Michael Bullock, and in spirit, the Twisted Angel and First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, Dee Dee Woodson, and the Hardcore Pipe Bomb himself, Derek Ferreira. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Tuesday. And until Cerebral Smack Talk on MF Channel, Brace Fan 95 tomorrow night, you've been watching the final Ridiculously Raw 2016 right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com. And remember, no matter what anyone tells you, wrestling is indeed actually real. Good night, everybody.